It looks like one game a week Max Allegri is going to be big trouble. Mad Max is back. And it's the new cheat code, right, guys? I tweeted about this today. I think Napoli already revealed this cheat code last season, which is basically play like absolute shit one season, get out of Europe completely, finish eighth, ninth, 10th, like Napoli did the season before they won the Scudetto, and like Milan did last season. And then you can play one game a week, be fully rested, and play every single game with full energy, with full of vivacity, life, vitality. And even with a red card, Milan managed to hold on today with a 2-1 win over Napoli and go joint top at the Serie A, at the top of the Serie A table, alongside Roma. Actually, forgot that Roma also won today. So it's a three-way Scudetto race at the moment with Juve and Inter, Atalanta, and Cremonese for now. I guess we got to include them being the outsiders. And it's turning out to be a more interesting title race now. I think today's game showed some, of course, it showed the strengths of Milan in terms of what we just talked about, the ability of Max Allegri to have all his players fresh for the game. And of course, he is a master tactician. Whatever you think of Allegri, this channel here, I am an Allegri fan. Whether he did a good job at Juve in the second stint, I agree with the Allegri haters that I think he definitely should have done better in the Juve stint. But there are some mitigating factors. But you guys know me. If it was me, Inter, after Conte left, I would have gone for Allegri. After Inzaghi left, I would have gone for Allegri. So I am a pragmatism fan, or a haram ball, terrorist ball, whatever you call it, fan, because it works in Serie A, or even not even just in Serie A in general. I see the way the football kind of is moving. I think Barcelona are different than that, but in general, in PSG. But apart from that, pragmatism in most leagues, it really is paying off. And yeah, today's game was decided by Christian Pulisic. As much as Allegri's tactics and everything was working, he needed something special, and Christian Pulisic for both goals was the one to provide it. The first one, literally first few minutes of the game, this guy just picks up the ball in the middle of the park, goes past the player, goes past another, whips it across, and then Alexis Salamakas is there to tap it in. Who actually, Salamakas, a player that I'm not a big fan of over the years, but I must admit his improvement over the years has been very impressive. Um, a little rat of a player, very Allegri type of player. And I think at this season, at this moment, we'll get to when we get to the halfway point. But if I have to pick like a right wing back or a right back in my Serie A team of the season until now, it probably is Alexis Salamakas. But Pulisic, wow, what a move for that goal! And then the second one, got a bit lucky with a deflection on his shot, linked up with Fofana on that one, and 2-0 Napoli, completely shell shocked Napoli, who 2-0 Milan, who completely shell shocked Napoli, who had seemed to have no answer for Milan really the first half. You can see actually on the kind of momentum, it was quite even, but yeah, it was very balanced in terms of possession and momentum. But Milan definitely had the better chances, created more. Then things changed in the second half. Napoli came out the better team, and then eventually a Pervis Estupinian red card, very very much deserved red card, goal scoring opportunity for Di Lorenzo. I think it was he brought him down in front of goal. De Bruyne scores a penalty, but I think speaking on De Bruyne, I think Conte is probably going to have to make a decision on De Bruyne. If I remember correctly, he hasn't scored an open play goal at this speaking as of today. Let me just check. So he's got 3 goals, 0 assists. And if I remember correctly, yeah, the Sassuolo one, this one was a set piece goal. I think this was a penalty as well against Fiorentina, and today another penalty. I don't think he's really at the moment adding too much to this Napoli team. He sacrificed McTominay in this left midfielder, fake left midfielder, because it's not as it looks on paper, but McTominay has a different role compared to last season because he's trying to fit in De Bruyne. which I don't think is probably a signing that he specifically requested. It reminds me of Inter fans, you will know. It reminds me of when Inter signed um, Christian Eriksen under Conte. January, we paid, instead of getting him as a free transfer, we brought him in a bit earlier, 17 million euros, big expectation, big wages. And Conte tried to fit, he didn't want him, but Conte did try to fit him in, not in the first not straight away, but he tried to fit him in, tried to change the formation for Ericsson at the start of the next season. He tried to change it into a 3-4-1-2 for Ericsson, but it just wasn't working. So I feel, and then obviously afterwards, until Ericsson reinvented himself in a deeper role, he threw Ericsson aside. With De Bruyne, of course, he has way more gravitas than someone like Christian Eriksen. He's still playing okay, but I don't see. I feel like at some point Conte might have to make one of those very unpopular decisions that over the years he's not afraid to make. Ask the likes of Diego Costa, Willian, Ericsson. Like, if a player doesn't fit his system, it doesn't really matter who it is, even if it is who some people say is the GOAT Premier League centre midfielder of all time, attacking midfielder, whatever you want to classify him as. Because, yeah, your MVP this season is the shadow of a player that he was last year, because he is having to play a different role at this moment. And yeah, of course, Napoli were missing some key players at the back. They were missing Buongiorno, and then they also were missing of course they're missing Lukaku. For some reason, he chose to start Marianucci over Berkema, which was an interesting choice by Conte. Overall, they probably did deserve a draw. Like, they were really pushing Milan, and I think Di Lorenzo had the biggest opportunity to level the game at 2-2 with a free header, and he wasn't able to take the opportunity. Magnan made some big saves. Mike Magnan, if he comes back to that Scudetto winning form that he had when Milan won the Scudetto, then again, that's big trouble for the rest of Serie A. And the scary part is this team hasn't yet fit in Rafa Leao, who just came back today, had his half an hour, 20 minutes run out at the end of the game. Looks like he will be as a striker in this formation. I guess it has to be, but that is kind of scary. It could be also maybe he doesn't quite fit into the system, but it is quite scary that this Milan team have been able to play so well without Rafa Leao fitting in. Also, their big summer signing, Yashari, isn't going to be back till November, so he's still there. And Kunku's not really got going yet. He's not fully fit. So there's still some potential levels and options that Milan have, but the one game a week effect, you can just see it. Like the way Modric, 40 years of age. I was just watching him. Sometimes just focusing on Modric off the ball, the speed and like the intensity he would run with. And I'm talking about not in the first half or the start of the second half. I'm talking about in the 89th, 90th minute. He was like pressing guys like he's like a young 20-year-old who's just been thrown on to hold on to the result. What are these Croatians made of? I remember how Brozovic was, how Sucic broke Brozovic's running record, Perisic, Modric now. He just keeps going. He's just like, he is the maestro. I'm jealous that Milan fans are getting to watch this guy week in, week out, and I'm jealous. And I thought that maybe he might be washed, he might be finished, but one game a week, letting his body recover and taking care of himself like he clearly does, looks like this guy is the best midfielder in Serie A this season, to be honest. Rabiot, Fofana next to him. Whatever Modric lacks in physicality, athleticism, you've got these two absolute beasts next to him. This is a Max Allegri midfield if I've ever seen one. And yeah, again, Rabiot in the 90th minute, he went to press Lobotka. The camera went on him in the 90th minute, ran like the half the length of the pitch, made a few tackles on him, very intense, 10, 15 seconds. And the camera pans in on him and he's not even out of breath. Of course, these guys are, in general, Rabiot, Modric, like these guys are known for their stamina, but having that ability to be rested just gives them even extra lung. And again, this is with the Milan that has a Santi Jimenez, who's basically a non-factor at the moment. They're basically playing with 10 men because Santi Jimenez, apart from some running and some pressing, he's really adding nothing to this Milan team. So congrats to Allegri, who's somehow making this defense, this trio. At the beginning of the season, I thought they still needed more, or at least one big centre back signing, but somehow he's making it work, and that is magic. Max Allegri when it comes to pragmatism and being able to sort a team out at the back, which is what he does. Let's have a look at Milan's next few fixtures now that they are top of the table. So next up they go away to Juve, so another big test back to back. You know, they haven't really played big team until today, so this is the first test which is passed with flying colours. Then they got Juve, then they go Fiorentina, who at the moment are really, really struggling. In theory, there should be a big test as well, but at the moment, maybe Pioli wants to get one over Milan, but who knows? I doubt it. And then they have Atalanta and Roma in back end of October, start of November, and then the derby in November. But they have no Champions League. So, of course, they are, as I predicted at the beginning of the season, just because of Allegri, one game a week, the cheat code that it is. It's they are going to be definitely a big threat to the Scudetto. In a way, I'm not happy, of course, that Milan, as an Inter fan, I'm not happy that Milan won, but it's nice that at least Napoli don't create a gap. If Conte went 4 points clear at the top, it's already, you could already say it's curtains for Serie, the Scudetto race. At least this keeps it alive, but then it gives Milan and their fans and their players and Allegri extra motivation and some momentum. But makes it for an interesting Serie A race once again, an interesting Serie A title race, which for neutrals is good. But yeah, man of the match, definitely Christian Pulisic. What did you make of both teams? If you're an Inter fan or not an Inter fan, let me know in the comments down below. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Great game to watch, and see you for the next one. Ciao ragazzi, Forza Inter, but Forza Serie A.